Chapter 10. Leah and Ethan exchanged glances. Ethan said, "I'm Ethan Longacre." I didn't recognize you," Molly stammered. "I'm sorry." Leah realized that Molly had never seen Ethan dressed English style before. "It's all right," he said. "I guess I do look different to you." "But very good," she added quickly. "How's your sister Rebecca doing?" "She is well, recovered from her spider bite." "Good. She is such a sweet girl." Molly looked at Leah. "I'm so glad you stopped by to see me. I've thought of you 100 times since you were here. Come sit." They pulled out chairs at the reading table, Molly on one side, Leah and Ethan on the other. "Tell me, what are you doing this summer?" Leah told Molly about her summer job and living arrangements. "Your own apartment?" Molly said, obviously impressed. "I was 22 before I had my own place. Then I got married and had kids, and I may never have the place to myself again." The three of them laughed. Leah said, "Tell us about Christmas at your parents' and about reading Emily's diary." "It was a very special time," Molly said, folding her hands on the table. "Imagine hearing someone speak to you from the grave. That's how we all felt as we read Emily's entries. It was as if she were in the room with us, looking over our shoulders. It brought back 100 memories, good memories. She was a wonderful girl who died before she should have. I've been looking into having her diary published." Molly glanced from Ethan to Leah. "I think her insights, her feelings about and her cancer, and what she was going through would be a help to kids today." Leah nodded slowly. "Probably so. I know I sure would have liked to read something by a person my age when I was told I had cancer. You feel so alone. If it hadn't been for you and Ethan and his sisters, it would have been a whole lot harder." "Thank you," Molly said. "Medical procedures may change over time, but human emotions don't. Being told you have a disease must be some of the hardest news in the world to hear, especially when you're young, like Emily was." Her diary was really clear about how isolated and lonely she felt. "Getting your diary published is a good idea," Ethan said. "I hope you have good luck." "Thanks, and I haven't forgotten the role that strange woman Gabriella played in all this. I never have been able to figure out how she came to have my sister's diary." Molly leaned back in the chair. "Have you ever seen her again?" "No, and neither has Rebecca because I asked her." "Well, unless she surfaces again, I'll never know. I guess that's not what's important anyway. The fact is I have Emily's diary, and I always will be grateful for that." Leah glanced at her watch. "I guess we should be going. I don't want to keep Dr. Thomas waiting." They stood at the door. Leah hugged Molly goodbye. "It was sure nice seeing you again." "You too," said the nurse. "Any time you're here, please stop by." She looked at Ethan and said, "That goes for you too. By the way, I like you in those clothes." Ethan's face reddened, but Leah could tell he was pleased by Molly's comment. When they reached Dr. Thomas's office, the receptionist ushered them into an exam room. The doctor entered, shook Ethan's hand, then placed the newest set of Leah's x-rays on the light board. He said, "Your x-rays look good. Any complaints?" Leah licked her lips nervously. She told him about how her knee sometimes ached after work. He examined her knee, massaging the kneecap while studying the x-rays. "I do see some inflammation." Leah braced herself for bad news. Dr. Thomas continued, "Such swelling is common among athletes when they strain their knees or elbows. Have you been bending a lot?" "Playing a sport before properly warming up." She told him about her job. "That could explain it. I'll give you a cortisone injection at the site. If you keep having trouble, let me know. Take it easy for a few days and give it time to heal, all right?" "All right." Leah didn't want a shot in her knee, but she'd been afraid it was more serious. Dr. Thomas left and returned with the syringe. Leah gritted her teeth as he slid the needle into her knee. She saw Ethan turn his head. When the ordeal was over, she asked, "Am I cured? From the cancer, I mean?" Dr. Thomas put his hand on her shoulder. "Now, Leah, you know I can't say this soon after your treatment. You just completed chemo a few months ago. But you told me the dark spots had started to shrink even before I started chemo." "That is true," Dr. Thomas said, "and I have no medical explanation for it, but cancer is still a mystery in many ways. The more we find out about it, the more we realize we don't know." He removed the x-ray films from the light board. "My job is to keep watch over you. I want to see you again in the fall, so stop at my receptionist's desk and she'll make another appointment for you." Leah got off the exam table. It wasn't the answer she had wanted, but for now it would have to do. The doctor smiled. "I think your prognosis is very good, Leah, but remember, with cancer it is one day at a time." In the elevator, Leah sagged against the wall. "I'm glad that's over with. I can tell you are not happy with his words," Ethan said. Leah felt tears of frustration building behind her eyes. I guess I wanted him to tell me I was completely cured, and he didn't ever want to see me again. I hate thinking every little ache and pain might be cancer returning. Ethan ran his knuckles along her soft cheek. You want to believe in a miracle, but you cannot. But that is what faith is, Leah, believing in what we cannot see. She sniffed hard. You're right, I need more faith, and right this minute I'm tired of talking about it and thinking about it. You were very brave when you got the shot, Ethan said. You need a reward. I will buy you supper and a present. Leah fumbled for a tissue and dabbed at her eyes. What kind of present? Something to make you happy again. Something to make you smile for me. They drove to a gigantic mall in one of the city suburbs. The parking lot was crammed with cars inside the mall. Summer sales were announced by colorful signs decorated in red, white, and blue. Flags sprouted out of merchandise displays. Aisles were thick with shoppers. Leah watched Ethan's reaction to the store's crowds and noise, a far cry from the sleepy little town of Nathany. They walked through the mall, stopping in front of the store windows whenever something caught Ethan's eye. Why are there so many stores selling clothes? He asked. People like to buy clothes. It's fun. He looked at her blankly. I see that a person needs summer clothes and clothes for winter, but this is practical. In winter it is cold, in summer hot. The same clothes will not do for both. People like to have clothes for a lot of different things. Leah's closet was packed with clothes, and she always thought she needed more. She added, plus styles change. You can't wear the same old things year after year. He made a face. You are right. That would be horrible. She punched him playfully. By now they were walking through one of the better department stores. Ethan stopped short in front of a rack of swimsuits. His eyes grew large as he looked at an assortment of bikinis. Something wrong? Leah asked. Do girls wear such things out in public? Leah was trying hard not to giggle at the expression on his face. Only girls with great bodies, she said, holding one up. It was red, speckled with white stars, kind of patriotic, don't you think? He gulped. His gaze fell on the price tag. We could feed a dairy cow for months on that much money. Leah dangled the suit in front of her. Well, I certainly don't want to cheat a poor cow out of her food. Ethan's gaze flew to Leah's face. You would not wear such a thing, would you? There's nothing wrong with wearing a bikini, she said defensively. And yes, I've worn one. I guess you never lain on a beach and sunbathed, have you? Is that why girls wear them, to get a suntan? Leah started to tell him that bikinis were fashion items in today's world. She also knew that tanning had never been the main reason she and her friends had worn bikinis. Boys noticed them in bikinis. She didn't want to admit that to Ethan. Feeling irritated, she hung the suit back on the rack. I'm sorry, Ethan. I was teasing you, and I shouldn't have. He stepped out of the main aisle and the flow of foot traffic. You don't have to apologize, he said, and I did not mean to sound so disapproving, but I believe that a woman's body should only be shared with her husband. She should not show it off to other men. He averted his eyes. And I will also tell you that it bothers me to think that other boys look at your body. You're jealous? He pondered her question before answering. No, jealousy is wrong. It serves no good, so I'm not jealous. But it does hurt my heart to think about sharing you with others. You are beautiful, Leah. I hope you will not wear bikinis, but I would never tell you what to do. With his words, Leah felt her irritation dissolve. I know we're coming from different places, Ethan, and I know it's hard for you to understand this crazy modern world. I guess I don't give much thought to it myself. Maybe I should. Just please remember I really do respect your values, and I don't want you to think badly of me just because we don't see eye to eye on something like clothes. Ethan raised his eyes, and a smile softened his face. Many of my friends tell me I am too old-fashioned. I am trying to lighten up. I'll cut you some slack then, she said, taking his hand, and you needn't worry about me parading around in a bikini. I won't do that either. If I'm going to spend this much money, I'd rather buy something that covers a lot more territory. Ethan laughed hard. Oh, Leah, you're very funny. It was good to hear him laugh, but Leah felt troubled. No matter how much time they spent together, it seemed as if their worlds were apart. She thought that over time they might grow closer in the way that each of them viewed the world and how to live in it. At the moment, she wasn't sure if that would or could ever happen.